Ooh, there we go. Hi, Support Fibro friends. I'm Melissa, and I'm here with Meshea and Julie from RV with Us and Counting My Spoons. We're on the road again, visiting all of our friends. I don't know.
On the road again. I can't wait to get on the road again. The life I love is making music with my friends. I can't wait to get on the road again. Yay, I didn't cough.
That's no cowbell for
Cowbell, baby.
Wait, is it Alabama has a cowbell or is it Mississippi? Did I just get everything wrong?
It's Mississippi has cowbell. I don't know about Alabama. Hi, Julie.
I have no idea. Hi.
Hi, Julie. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, to our Support Fibro friends, you may recognize Julie from Counting My Spoons, but this time we're catching up with her for another adventure. So we appreciate you joining with us because you've been expanding on your adventures with RV. It's RV with Us, correct? Or RV
yes.
with and then .us is the URL. I'm going to share that with everyone. I know, we're excited to have you here. And can you just catch us up? Like, okay, so you moved out of the house, you're now into an RV. How's it going?
It has been a crazy year. So we've been talking about this a lot because we realized that it's been basically a 2-year journey to get us on the road, like completely. And so like just about a year ago, almost exactly, I sold my house and took some of the money from that and bought this RV behind me. And that is now my new house. So I live in about 400 square feet and it's awesome because I have less to clean and less to worry about. And I don't have a mountain of stuff, which is so freeing. And now we're free to travel. So my boyfriend sold his house last week, actually, he closed on it. So we can finally officially hit the road. We've actually just been doing like a circuit of North Alabama for the last 9 months, moving about once a month or so, just between different parks within about a 100-mile radius. And so here in about another week and a half, we're going to hit the road and head up probably up into Tennessee and then Missouri. And I don't know my states, but we're going to end up in like South Dakota, Nebraska, Colorado, that area. And hopefully in the meantime, I'll learn some geography.
I think you will. I think you'll have to learn some to navigate all of that. So I know you've stayed pretty close to home and been kind of circling around, but have you had a favorite stop so far or any favorite stops so far?
So our favorite stop so far was actually on the way back with the rig. We actually drove all the way down to Fort Myers, Florida to buy it, which was about 900 miles. And then we drove it back over about a week. We stopped like 3 times. But one of those stops was in Navarre Beach, Florida. So we were right on the sound there. And, they had a nice little private beach at the RV park that we stayed at. And it was just beautiful. And it was just like a perfect little vacation. And we would have stayed there forever, but I had to come home and get on a plane to go to Washington and meet you guys.
Yes.
You interrupted my perfect vacation.
So we spoiled that for you. Well,
you did.
I didn't realize that. Why didn't I realize that? Where was I? I didn't realize
you were
that
busy
part.
planning DC. and this happened like literally like with no notice. So it was like we were all like planning the whole, to go to DC and everything, and like that was set. But then like even though that was set, like I found this, and so like the timing when stuff like this happens is you kind of just have to jump on it. So we had just a very short window of like, okay, we found it. We had a third party inspector go and actually look at it for us and make sure that it was in good shape and that we wouldn't have any issues if we bought it. And then like pretty much as soon as we got the okay back on that inspection, we jumped in the truck and drove to Florida. So, I mean, it was like literally within a week of like found it and in the truck. And then another week we came, it took us a week to come back. And, like 2 days after we got back, I was on a plane to go to DC.
And I'm so glad you did, because you were my partner.
I know, I'm so glad I was there and you were my partner. I don't think I could have survived that without you.
Oh, no. We had a great time. We had a great time.
We
But,
did.
Yeah, we did. Well, I appreciate you guys going and jumping away from Florida and headed to all the chaos we had in DC. But I was glad that we could partner up, you guys together. I know that Julie connected Meshea and I back in 2016. So I was glad we got to all meet in person and do that.
yeah, this is an odd triangle, actually, because Julie connected us, and so the three of us are here, but we'd all three actually met each other in DC. Oh no, you two of you had already known each other. You two of you had met face to face, but all three of us face to face was in DC. So that was interesting. So I'm sorry about
Had you guys not met face to face before DC?
No.
I was headed that direction because Meshea was in Mississippi at that time, so I didn't realize it. But then she moved to Washington State, so that makes it easier to jump on a plane after, but not right now. But.
No, you can't get out of California.
I am stuck in Los Angeles County. We are not opening up yet like that.
So we're living vicariously through Julie here, who is literally on the road while we are living virtually on the road.
Now we know who to call Julie when we need advice about being on the road.
I can only cover so much, but I will say that I feel a lot safer traveling this way than I would if I had to get on a plane or, something else. And like, even if all this COVID stuff wasn't happening, like, my whole thing with wanting to do this is I love to travel, but like, I don't necessarily like being on cramped planes and it's expensive. I hate being without my bed and my pillows. I hate having to pack and unpack constantly. So like, this is perfect because I literally get to take my house everywhere we go. And even like, we're talking about going and visiting some friends here shortly and just taking the truck. And it like, I'm just like, ugh, I don't want to do that. Like, I want my house with me. Like everywhere I go, I just want to take my whole house with me now because I can. And it's so awesome.
Well, that's a question people had is how are you managing the shift with chronic illness? But you kind of got into it, but we had a lot of questions about that.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's easier. I mean, the only thing I really miss is the bathtub. Like I miss having a bathtub because we just have a shower and it's a nice big full-size shower, which is awesome. But, I mean, there's definitely times when you're hurting or whatever, and you're like, man, a bath would be really nice right now. But as far as like everything else, like I've not really had any issues with it. Like there's definitely bad days. I mean, just like there is any other time, and there's times where, it might be a travel day and I might not feel like I really want to move, but, you can minimize it. So, he does a lot of the connecting and disconnecting of all the utilities and stuff, which that's a whole other conversation. And he does the driving, which helps. Eventually I want to start doing some of the driving, but I just haven't quite got to that point where I feel comfortable driving a truck that's pulling 42 feet of trailer behind us and knowing what I'm doing. So until we can get somewhere where we're in a position where I can do so, like in an empty parking lot or something like that, then I don't feel like I'm comfortable doing it on the road. So I'm really thankful to have somebody with me that can handle those things. Like obviously if I was alone, I'd be in a very different rig. I'd probably be in like a much smaller, maybe like a class C where it's the truck and the camper combined, as opposed to this giant thing that has to be disconnected and all of that. But all in all, I mean, it's just been it's a simpler life because of like having less to clean. So I'm not constantly like, I'm not worn out just from having to clean the living room. Like in the house, it was like, it would take me an hour just to do the floor in the living room. And I can clean this whole house in an hour.
Wow.
So I was never done in the house, but here I can be done like in the same day. So that's kind of awesome. And just having less stuff in general, I mean, that just makes me feel so much better.
but you still brought the comforts of your home and just making yourself comfortable, which is great to hear. And you have your cat?
Yeah. We have our little asshole.
I can't bleep you out.
I wasn't going to say that. I was just letting it go. I was just, maybe people didn't catch that.
Well, now you did.
Our Disney rating just went, bloop. But that's.
I'm just thankful it wasn't me. Oh no, that's so funny.
Well, I mean, I'm lucky. I see, again, we get to learn from you, because I know Meshea and I had talked about this. We're supposed to go on the road and we're trying to, like, how about a mini RV? And so could you imagine if all three of us were trying to learn this process and drive? Like, I can't parallel park a regular car to save my life. So I would drive straight, and I'm good with that, but I don't know. So we're going to have to, I think you will have to do driving school from Julie next time.
Yeah, that's going to have to be one big bleep parking lot. Now I've helped out, Julie. I've helped you out there. I've done my own colorful speech.
I mean, thankfully there are like companies out there that do driving lessons and driving schools for these things. And I think if we end up someplace where one of those exists, that I will take it, just because I would feel so much better doing so. And like another of our things is that we want to go and take a course in just maintenance, because home maintenance on one of these is very different than home maintenance in a house. Like the thing that most people don't realize is that there's actually like a ton more just general little bitty crud maintenance that you have to do on these that you never would think about. And, you know, I mean, just like, so where am I at? Okay.
Ooh, we're getting a tour.
Yes,
no,
I see that.
A tour on the inside. All right. Can you see the line where the dark and the white meet behind me? Okay. So there's a little strip of stuff, whatever it's called. And it connects those two areas. And if it's not sealed properly, water can get down in there, and that can cause like all kinds of issues that can then get into your floor and everything else. So just like keeping that sealed regularly, trying to keep the outside of this thing clean is like about impossible without going through like a truck wash, you know, that washes like big rigs, which is sometimes hard to find. And I'm trying to think of what else we've had. We've had several little things, and that's like, if you ask Brandon like what he hates, you know, the hardest part about like this life, he's like, it's the constant maintenance. Where like, and it's there's constant maintenance in a regular house too, but like, you know who to call. Like, you know, when the plumbing goes out, there's 50 bazillion plumbers in the phone book, but like a regular plumber doesn't necessarily know what to do on these. Or, you know, you basically have to find like an RV repair person and hope they actually know what they're doing, and they're not just somebody who happened to live in one for a year and decided they knew what they were doing.
Oh wow!
So that part,
scary.
I mean, that part's kind of freaky and scary. And thankfully there are some really good RV repair places out there, and there's some really good schools where you can go and like learn this stuff yourself. But it's very much a thing of like, your best bet is to learn how to do it and learn how to take care of it and do a lot of preventative maintenance. It's kind of like a personal body. Like, you know, we have to do all this preventative maintenance on ourselves to avoid, you know, having all kinds of other issues. So
there's no
the same way.
So there's no home warranty program for RVs?
No.
No. Oh, well, maybe that's something we should invent. Maybe we can make some money there.
I mean, that's definitely a downside of these is the maintenance side of it. But, you know, I still feel like it's worth it. And for the freedom that it'll give us, you know, it's definitely going to be worth it. But ask me again in a year.
Okay, we'll check in with you, because once we have to try to hit the road, because it was always this back and forth of staying in hotels or whatnot, but it seems like the setup, maybe we should just scale up slowly. You did a lot of research, because I remember you were digging in and doing all that research for yourself, but then you started a blog from this, right? So everybody can see your experience.
So yeah, we have started a blog. It's still pretty new, and that's rvwith.us. And I hope you can hear me over the plane. But we try to share some of what we've dealt with there, some of the struggles, as well as just like reviews of the parks that we stayed at, some of the basic like questions that we get. So like the biggest one that we get, even as we sit here doing this live streaming thing, is like, how do you manage internet when you're on the road? And because it's not as simple as calling up Comcast and setting up your cable or whatever. It definitely requires a lot more research and stuff. So like it pretty much for us, like we have two different basically mobile internet accounts. So we have like Verizon and we have AT&T, so that we can switch between them depending on where we're at. And then we have like a special router that basically holds the SIM cards for both of those. And at the same time, it'll connect to like park Wi-Fi if the park happens to have Wi-Fi, which is rare. Like you can't count on that. Even if they have it, it's generally not reliable, especially not for like our needs. So I mean, like it might be fine if you're just checking your email, but like if you're actually trying to work and download things or upload things, it can be problematic. But like the setup that we have works really well, between the fact that like I live on the internet with what I do, and then Brandon's a software engineer, so he's pretty much constantly having to be online and downloading and uploading really huge files, and we've not had any issues at all. Plus we stream pretty much all of our entertainment through like Netflix and stuff, so that part has worked out really well. But again, we had to do a lot of research to figure that out, and everybody's needs are different. So
Wow.
I'm glad you put it up on the blog and started that for social media, giving people that type of information. So you're the expert with even from counting my spoons. How has that been going?
I'm still trying to keep up with it. I have not been posting there nearly as much as I used to. Like I used to be very religiously at least once a week. And I've kind of struggled since this stuff started, or actually a little bit earlier than that. Just trying to keep up with everything, between like trying to launch this piece of my life, plus doing like a lot of freelance work, and trying to keep up with the blogs. Like I feel like I'm not really keeping up well with either of my blogs. So, it's just like, how do you do it all? Like, I don't know. And to think back that like 5 years ago, I was going to school full time and, doing freelance work and posting 3 blogs a week. And I don't know, I cannot even imagine how I did those things, and why. And if I can do those things then, why can I not do those things now? Like, I don't get it.
Well, you've added in a whole new experience of learning. So I just know from all that learning that it takes up a lot of time. We realized that with Advocacy Day, right? So I was like, I don't know, guys, just trust me. We'll do this, right?
Well, I think also too, though, you've learned a lot more about yourself too, and you've set some personal boundaries that you didn't have then. You're probably like, what? I'm not going to, you're not realizing it, but the things you put yourself through to do all that, you're just not going to put yourself through that now. And
that is true.
You're probably healthier and happier because of it.
I am definitely healthier and happier, like both physically and mentally. Like I know that if I compare myself to 5 years ago, we're going to go with 5 years ago, I smile a lot more. I laugh a lot more. I have a lot more fun. I relax a lot more. I'm not just generally stressed and worried about like the bazillion things that have to be done. Like it gets done or it doesn't get done. Like it just is.
There you go.
And I can't and I won't spend too much energy worrying about things that don't matter. So,
good.
And that's not to say that my blog doesn't matter, or that any of the things that I'm not doing doesn't matter, but I've learned, I think, to better prioritize and manage my time. And I say that while at the same time thinking back to like 5 years ago, I was doing all these things. So obviously I had good time management skills. And yes, I managed my time really well then, but I wasn't having fun. I wasn't enjoying life. I was stressed. And I was sick because I was stressed because of all the things that I was trying to do.
You were sacrificing yourself. It was at personal expense, great personal expense, to accomplish all of those things, and you had to decide which mattered most. And I remember all that stuff you were doing online, and I was like, my God, how's this woman do all this? And that was all very impressive, but I love seeing you like this. I love you. I mean, you're laid back there, I mean, you're all smiles and lighthearted, and you don't have a house, and you've got just a few things, and you're going RVing, and you're, I mean, yeah, you're my hero.
Well, that's what we love about these interviews, because for everyone out there, I mean, I can learn from these two lovely ladies on like that we can still have fun even when we're managing a chronic illness. So, I mean, everyone knows I'm pretty serious, so I'm learning from both of them.
Just say it as it's so.
You can still laugh, you can still go on adventures, and I know with Mesha's Fibro life, that's what she's all about too. So we're happy to bring
her. And I've felt many times that a lot of where we end up with our chronic illnesses, especially with like fibromyalgia, a lot of that, it's very stress dependent. So, the more stressed out we are, the worse we're going to feel. And I feel like a lot of times we end up sick because of the choices that we make. And that's not to say that it's at all our fault, but we've allowed ourselves to get overstressed, and we've prioritized all these other things in our life above ourselves, above our own health, whether it's mental or physical health. Like, instead of taking the time to like check in with ourselves and say, what, is this good for me? Like, is this the best thing that I should be doing for myself? Like, am I taking care of myself? We're not asking those questions. Instead, we're just out there saying yes to everybody else. Not even to ourselves, but just to everybody else. Like, everybody comes along and they need something. And, whether it's a spouse or kids or a job or whatever, like, everybody wants a piece of you. And at the end of it, you have no pieces of you left for you. And I think that's where we end up sick, because it's our body saying, wait, you need to slow down. You need to take time for yourself and like pull back those pieces. And if we don't choose to do it ourselves, our body's going to make that happen.
So yeah, self-care and self-love, and what you were saying about we need to check, pull back and check, and that's pretty much what I said on my morning show this morning is stop and check, right here, right now, is this the right thing for me? It may have been the right thing 2 years ago. Maybe I baked the cookies for every event 2 years ago, but it doesn't fit now. And so it doesn't fit now. So you say so. So you have to do what's right for right here, right now, and be as healthy as you can. And so I think you've definitely hit the nail on the head. And we let everyone else's expectations, people, society, everyone else's expectations drive what we do. And in the end, we're not staying true to self, and we're not taking care of ourselves. So I think you've absolutely nailed it.
Well, and for other people, when it comes to sort of these realizations, what you're discussing, is it something that each person has to find on their own, or how do they come to this conclusion?
I mean, I think absolutely they have to come to it on their own. And I think if you look at all of us as we go through our journey with fibromyalgia or with chronic illnesses, our journey, our trajectories are very similar. We start off at a point where we're often, and some people are different. There's always outliers, but I think generally, we come into it and we're sick and we don't know what to do with it. Mm-hmm. And we're looking for an answer. We can start going to the bazillion and one doctors expecting an answer from a doctor. And, at the same time, we're getting these inputs from outside. At least I know I did. I got the nutritionist who was like, hey, you should, remove you should remove gluten from your diet, and you should take these other things from your diet. And you need to do this and you need to do that. And all that advice, it just overwhelms you and makes you feel even worse. But and you don't know what of it makes sense. And and at the same time you're feeling like absolute utter crap, but you're looking at other people out there who are doing things, and I see it with, people who follow me online, where people who will look at me and they'll be like, well, you don't seem like you're very sick now, so obviously you don't have fibromyalgia.
Oh, yes.
That kind of attitude. And and I get it, because I was there. Like, I remember that, like back in like 2010 to 2012, when I first was sick and I was barely getting up off the couch, to see somebody who had, quote, recovered. And I will never say that I recovered from fibromyalgia, because I don't believe that necessarily exists. Am I at a point where I'm doing 100 times better than I was at the worst of it? Absolutely. But I still have bad days. I still have flares. And I don't know that there's ever going to be a time where I am back to the point that I was before I got sick. And unless I can reach that point where I am 100% what I was in, say, 2007, then I'm not recovered. And I don't think that's going to happen. But, I remember being at that point where I would look at those people and be like, that can't be real. You're full of crap. Like, there's no way you're sick. There's no way you have fibromyalgia. You obviously have something else. Or, you're lying, or what, I remember being that person. So when I see people have that response to me, I totally get it. Like, I don't even fault them for it. Like, they're just not at a point yet where they're ready to say, okay, I'll do anything it takes. And I think that's the point we all eventually get to. I hope we all get there, where we're like, okay, I've tried this, and this, and all the obvious things. I've tried every medication the doctor has to throw at me. I've been to every doctor and none of them have fixed me. So I'm finally going to be willing to try these other really hard things that require every ounce of my effort to make these changes. Because up to this point, I've looked at these changes and said, I don't have the energy to do that. Well, eventually you reach a point where you're like, I don't have the energy not to do that. Like, it might take some effort to do it, but it can't be any more effort than the things that I'm already doing that aren't working for me. Like for me, it was all about diet change. Well, goodness, I had to cook dinner either way. So whether I, throw a chicken on the grill and eat some salad instead of making a box of hamburger helper, honestly, the effort's the same. Or I did juicing for a year. Juicing looks like a lot of effort, but in reality, like, the effort that I put into juicing, especially for the results that I got, was no different than the effort that I would have put into making whatever else I would have ate for breakfast. So, it's just a change in effort. It's not that it's so much more. It's just a different place that we're putting that energy. And so, I think that's the point we all eventually get to, and hopefully we all get there, but we have to get there on our own trajectory and our own path, and at the time that's right for us. So all that advice that we put out, or whatever, like, if somebody is not listening and they're not bringing it into themselves, it's just because they're not ready. Like, it's not that there's anything wrong with them, or that there's anything wrong with the advice that we're giving. And the advice varies. Like, we're all different. What works for one of us doesn't work for all of us. But it's just advice. It's just what worked for me. But it's not going to work for you until you're ready to try it. And that's assumes that it works for you at all.
We definitely have to be there. We definitely have to be ready for it. Even if whatever it is, until we're, because we have to be at that place. This is a process that we have to go through. You're absolutely right. And we've all been through different stages of it. Last week after the show, Melissa and I talked about the stages that, where are you at in this process? And it's what it is. This is a process that we all have to go through, and it takes a while. It takes a while to get there, for everyone. Everyone goes through the stages at a different rate. And you have to be ready to accept or to be open to certain things, or, you just have to be ready for it. You can't push those things on anyone. We've put a lot of stuff out there. All of us have. And that's all we can do, is put it out there and say, this is what we know from personal experience. And then as people are ready for it, it's there. And that's all we can do, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. And Joe says, create wins for yourself every day to build motivation. we all lift each other up as a community. So that's also a good point.
Right. And I think we understand that's, I don't think we judge each other as a community. I think what Julie said, I think we all get that. I think we get that. I think we respect each other and know that, okay, you're just not there yet, and a lot of, I don't think that's necessarily true across all different types of communities, but I think in fibro world, I think we've come to get the fact that, somebody who's just found out they have fibromyalgia, they are not at the same place as someone who's had it 10 years, 20 years, or who's gone through all of this or has gone through all of that. And, we recognize that there are stages of acceptance, and you are going to try these things, and there are things you're going to do before you get to a point that you're ready to do something else. And it may not be exactly the same things, but you are going to progress through things before. I just think we've come to accept that, I think. And I think it's the same way with moving into an RV. I think that's something that you'd have to progress to that point. Did you have to? Was that something that really took a mindset shift for you? Was that something you just embraced? Was that something that just came to you and you said, "I'm going to do this," or was that a slow shift?
So it's always been something I've wanted to do. Like, it's always been that, like, retire, we all like picture our retirement. And that's always been my, like, imagined retirement, that I would, like, get an RV and travel the country. And, you guys know I got divorced like 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of at that point where I was like, wait a second, there's literally no reason I can't do this now. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't want to keep this house. Like, it's way too big for one person. I want to hit the road. Like, what I do requires me to be nowhere in particular. I can write from anywhere. I can be on the internet from anywhere. As long as I have an internet connection, and worst case scenario, I can go find a Starbucks for that, or I can use my phone or whatever. Like, those were no longer issues. And so there was literally, it reached that point where there was like literally nothing holding me back. And so that was kind of where it started. And, I was kind of already on my way towards making that happen when I met Brandon. And Brandon had kind of always wanted to downsize into a tiny house. So it was a really good, like, compromise between us of, like, he was like, yeah, that would be really cool to, like, travel and, like, live in a tiny house. And so, like, the actual compromise that happened is the fact that we're in a 42-foot fifth wheel instead of probably a 20-foot little Class A or Class C that I would be in, like, if it was just me. But since there's two of us, we need a little bit more room. And since, he still works full time and I still work full time, we need a little bit more room for, like, office space. Mm-hmm. And we didn't want to, like, it was kind of, as we looked at the different models that are out there and stuff, most RVs have these really tiny bathrooms that are on par with an airplane bathroom. Like, if you could shove a shower in an airplane bathroom, that's about what most of them look. I mean, some of them literally, like, the shower is the bathroom. Like,
yes.
Where, like, and I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do that. And so as we looked at, like, all the different models and stuff, it was like, I don't really want to go over this size, which was like 30 feet is what we were looking at originally. But all of them that we found in that size range, the bathrooms were so tiny. And I was like, I do not want to get into this thing. And the one reason that I hate this entire life be that bathroom. Like, I need to be comfortable. Like, a comfortable bed and a bathroom. Those are literally the two things I need in life. Like, just, as long as I have those two things, I'm good. So that was why we ended up in a 42-foot, because this thing has a 10 by 10 bathroom. That's like,
wow,
the most giant bathroom you'll find in pretty much any of these. So yeah, it's, and eventually we'll probably downsize as we get, like, more and more comfortable. And, we've already kind of seen that 42 feet holds you back a little bit as you travel, because a lot of the parks aren't built for rigs this big. So, we tend to be a lot more limited on where we can park. So even, I showed you guys kind of the spot that I'm sitting in, which the particular piece of this park that we're in looks like a parking lot, because that's where we would fit. That was open this time around. Mm-hmm. But, like, last time when we came in the winter, we were able to get a really nice spot down in the park area that's, like, really pretty. But we couldn't do that this time because the only spots they had were much smaller than would fit us. So it's kind of, and we're going to see as we hit the road just how much that really affects us, and whether how soon it becomes an issue that we decide we want to downsize.
And so have you found, what are you going to do about the bathroom issue? Because you still are going to want this nice size bathroom. So can you have one custom built? I mean, now I'm all into this. How are you going to have the bathroom you want?
I mean, yeah, we would have to give up some on the bathroom.
Okay.
One thing that's helping us right now, so this rig actually has 2 bathrooms. It has a bath and a half. So the half bath is actually about the size of what most baths are in these, minus the fact that it doesn't have a shower in it. And our full bath, our black tank, which is where all the waste from the toilet goes. Julie had a brain fart a few weeks ago. So one of the things you have to do when living in these is that you have to flush the tanks, which is the black tank and the gray tank. And you have to do that every couple of weeks, or about every, when you move, pretty much. So I was doing that, and we let the water run through the tanks for a little while, and I was like, oh, I need to go turn the water off. And I went outside to do that, and instead of turning the water off, I closed the tank, which then caused way too much water to go into the tank. Oh, no. And so basically, I'm pretty sure I busted that tank. Like, I don't know 100%, but it's like, we heard a pop.
Uh-huh.
And we're like, so we're not using that toilet. So we're going to spend like however much time we spend on the road without that toilet, because when we took it in to get some other work done, the guy looked at it and he's like, I can't find a leak. He's like, but I'm pretty sure there is one on the top of the tank. But in order to take the tank off to check to see where the leak would be, it's going to be like an 8-hour job. And then even if we discovered that you need a new tank, you're looking at like 6 to 8 weeks to get one. And I'm like, we're not hanging out here that long. So we're going to go without a toilet, or, because we have an extra toilet.
Right.
So basically forcing ourselves to use this other half bath that is much more cramped is, we're hoping, going to get us like better prepared for downsizing.
I see.
So,
forced acclimation.
Forced acclimation.
Nothing like necessity. Wow. Yeah, because I mean, that 10 by 10 bathroom in a place like that, I was all into that. But so we're downsizing, or we're giving that up, so okay.
You might be discouraging Meshea to do this on the road later on. Ask for a 10 by 10 bathroom. I'll be like, we can't afford a 10 by 10 bathroom.
I'm a shower person, and I'm good. We don't have to have a 10 by 10 bathroom. I'm good. We don't have to do that. We can go on the road, and we're not going to be there all the time anyway. So, I mean, so we're good. We're good.
You want the good, like, full-size shower, though. So,
yeah. Well, I love cruise ships. Go ahead.
I've never been to a cruise.
Well, I love cruise ships, and they're sometimes the bathrooms are really, really big, but sometimes it's smaller too, and I don't care. I'm on the cruise ship, and as long as there's room to, I'm good with it. So that's fine. Yeah, but yeah, when you said 10 by 10 bathroom in there, I'm like, there's a 10 by 10 bathroom in there, really? I mean, this is like a luxury model, girl.
It is. I mean, it totally. I mean, actually, a 10 by 10 is probably not right, because there's not a slide in there, so it's probably like 10 by 8. But that also includes our closet, which is like the whole front end of the fifth wheel is closet, and it also includes a little laundry closet. So we actually have a washing machine in our fifth wheels that's in that bathroom. So I mean, there's a lot in that space, but there's a good bit of open space in the middle of it. So like we can both stand at the sink and brush our teeth without feeling cramped, that kind of thing.
Melissa, did you hear that? We can have a washing machine and a dryer. We have a dryer too. Is that right? A washer and dryer.
You can hook a dryer up in there.
Washer and dryer, and we can brush our teeth at the same time, Melissa.
Well, first I just wanted to let us out so we can go visit Julie and check it out.
We may have to buy Julie's rig once she gets that tank fixed, so Julie can downsize. We'll just take Julie's rig. You get the tank fixed.
I mean, at the rate we're going, we're going to be meeting in Colorado anyway.
Oh, I know, because that state will open up if they let us out over here. But then we were talking about cooking and all those things too. And I don't want to leave without mentioning the gluten-free s'mores. You said you had something for us.
So, because I'm 100% gluten free, so I have to solve these conundrums early. And s'mores, I mean, I will be straight up. When you live in an RV, you don't spend nearly as much time around a campfire as you would if you were just doing this for fun on the weekends. But we still do quite a bit of campfires. Like, I'd say at least once a week, we probably do a campfire. And I love s'mores. So my two things for s'mores, one is these instead of graham crackers are awesome. They're the Aldi's brand snickerdoodles,
Okay,
so they're soft.
Okay.
That's the thing I use most often. But I actually found these the last time I was at the grocery store. They're Pamela's brand,
Oh,
and they're
wow.
gluten-free honey graham. So you can
Wow.
totally do the gluten-free s'more. And a trick that I heard that I have not tried yet, but I have the ingredients to do the next time I make s'mores, is to upgrade your s'more. Instead of using just your basic Hershey bar, use a Reese cup.
That is an upgrade. That is totally an upgrade.
So I have the ingredients to do that now.
I have been wanting comfort food like no other right now. I've been trying to behave, but it's getting harder and harder to just stay on track. Like, I just want to dip into a big bowl of mac and cheese or something right now. So now that I know that there's some alternatives, I might have to just go ahead and do that. It's gonna be like off stuffing my face after this.
That sounds amazing, though. A s'mores made with a Reese's cup. I mean, that is like, yeah, that's like a 10 by 10 bathroom in one of those things. I mean,
So 10 by 10 bathroom eating a s'mores. So
I don't know. I'm not comfortable with that.
well, maybe it's in the whirlpool or whatever.
You know what's crazy is they do actually make these things with hot tubs in them.
Mm-hmm.
really,
Wow.
So the model that we have, they actually make a version of where instead of it being like a huge closet across the front like we have, it's an actual hot tub up there. And I'm like, I just can't even imagine. Like, I would rather have my closet personally. And everybody that I've ever talked to that has actually like ever had one with the hot tub, they're like, yeah, you don't use it. Like, because the only way it makes sense is if you're stationary. Like, if you have one of these and you just never move anywhere. But like, if you ever, if you travel, a lot of times you end up places where you might be on limited water, or you might even be like what they call boondocking, where you're not hooked up to anything. So you're relying on what water you have on board. You're not going to waste water on a hot tub. I mean, you're doing good to have water to like do your dishes. So, that kind of thing's a little bit overkill. But I could totally see it being fun for somebody who, was 100% stationary, or, in something like that. Like,
it's
teach
a
them.
version of a party bus. Maybe people take it on the weekend and have a.
Well, see, that's what I'm thinking. You know me too well. I'm already thinking party bus. I mean, I've got it all in my head already.
Oh no, I better watch what she requests as talent. You don't want to sing on the road and ask for all the hot tub in the back. And Julie, I may have to drop her off with you after.
Julie
Anytime.
loves me. There you go. See, Julie loves me. She'll take me.
We want Meshea to start singing somewhere on the road. So that was part of like the Fibro Life tour. So I needed a place for her instruments as well.
Yeah, that is the other thing. We were like, how are we going to do this? We need to take guitars. We do, what all are we going to take? How are we going to do this? So we just need a big purple one is what we need, with the logo on the side. And yeah, I mean, I can see it now. We got to raise money for this thing. We got to start a campaign right now. Yeah, we got to start a campaign right now. I mean, and we really won't use it.
Help us fund the Fibro tour.
Yeah. We won't use it as a party bus, I promise. Because Mel's not going to let me have a hot tub. Mel's not going to let me have a hot tub. You can't have a party bus without a hot tub. Once people knew that was an option, I mean, there you go.
Luckily, we don't have band members traveling with you. Otherwise, I would be outvoted for sure.
Well, okay.
Time to get you some band members to travel with you.
What you've instigated.
I'm sorry. I can't help but influence people.
Well, see, you were busy with so many things, and Julie and I were kind of left to our own devices a lot in Washington. So, in DC survived us, but actually we behaved. We were very good in DC, weren't we, Julie? Yeah, we were good. We were good.
Well, we're gonna have to figure out a state to meet up in, and then just like have some good fun and meet up and have a fibro meetup again. So that'll be a lot of fun. And as we're closing out the hour, so we don't get cut off by anything. Okay, so Julie, let's run through where our Support Fibro friends can find you on the internet.
So my original blog, countingmyspoons.com, that's where, I've blogged about living an inspired life despite chronic illness. So, I try to educate and inspire those who have chronic illness to just live positively regardless. And you can find me on all the social medias, usually under Counting My Spoons, except for Twitter, where it's Drunkety2000, and that's a whole different conversation. And then the new blog is RV with Us, so it's rvwith.us or rvwithus.net. Either of those will work. And you can find us on Instagram under rvwith.us, as well as Facebook.
Perfect. I love following your Instagram because you get to see all the visual items that you're going through.
I enjoy. I never really got Instagram until I started doing it for the travel stuff. Like, it makes so much more sense to me to do it for that than like for the chronic illness stuff, because I'm just not a meme kind of person, and I'm not one to like. I'm not a selfie person. So like between those two things, I'm like, I don't know what to put on Instagram for like my chronic illness one. So it doesn't get a lot of play. Like, I try to remember to do it when something pops up, but it doesn't, I'm not nearly as involved there. But I do enjoy sharing lots of sunsets and pretty views of the parks that we're at. So.
Well, you definitely look like you're having fun from the Instagram post. I love you posted the mask with the RV. You're living the RV life. So just we're happy for you. We get to see those smiles and all that stuff. So that's great.
Yeah, we're enjoying it.
Yeah, it's great. It's great to see that you're so relaxed and happy. And that's just wonderful to see. It's does my heart good to see how you're just so relaxed. It's a beautiful sight to see.
Yes, it is. Thank you so much, Julie, for letting us get a glimpse of your adventurous life, and we hope to see you soon. Meshea, do you have any interviews coming up on your page at all that we should know about?
I don't necessarily have any interviews coming up right away. I do have, of course, the Quantum Emotional Healing Show every Tuesday, and then I'm here with you every Wednesday, but not any interviews per se. I am pretty much doing the daily show again, though, every day. So, it was hump day today, so you never know what I'm going to come up with.
Julie, you missed out. So every Wednesday, okay, you have to re-say it because I just keep catching her videos.
It's hump day because it's Wednesday. You're the camel, and I just love it. So so I have to at least do them on Wednesdays so I can say Happy Wednesday, everyone. It's hump day, and Melissa can then she just loves it. So.
I'm easily amused, apparently, by cowbells and camels that say hump day. So
I don't think
anybody who doesn't smile or laugh at hump day, like, how can you not see that meme or like hear hump day and not just like get a big grin? Like, it's just,
I know
it's all just happy.
How can you not? You know, that poor camel, you know, I mean, he's going around and he's doing his darndest to get people to say, hump day. What day is it? What day is it? You know, it's hump day. And, you know, and how can you not? I mean, it's just, how can you not?
Well, and she uses the voice in her videos. So.
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to sing to take us out. Sorry.
Okay, no worries. We'll let it go. Okay, thank you, Julie. And I have no idea where we're going next on the road for next week. So you'll have to you'll find us somewhere between Alabama and something else.
And we'll go on hump day.
Yes.
We go see Julie again.
Yes.
Come on back.
Okay. Thank you, Julie. We will check in with you later. Bye.
All right.
Bye,
Bye.
Julie.